Nigel Cecil, equity as you like it.
Save the Oldham Coliseum Theatre. What's the way forward? Stick with me to see if we can work it out together.
Especially for Nigel's equitable friends.
Greetings, chocobutties, strawberries and love to all my equitable friends.
Cobblers to your equitable friends.
And cobblers to you too, but I'll still send you strawberries and love. Hello, chocobutties. Nigel Cecil here, moi, entertainment entrepreneur, responding to my equitable friends with their comments and opinions, all focusing for the last few videos, 107, 108 and 109, and this one on Oldham Coliseum. And Equity's mantra, Equity, the trade union for actors, variety entertainers and other creatives across the United Kingdom, well, their mantra to save the Oldham Coliseum, their campaign. Now, how did this come about? Well, as I've just mentioned, videos 107, 108 and 109 give the background. In fact, they give more than the background, don't they, Hilary? Are you enjoying the sunshine, Hilary? Because we're on location? Well, good for you. The Arts Council England is an organisation that gives out funds for the arts, and they designated the Oldham Coliseum as a national portfolio organisation. And on that basis, receiving what is the main funding, the Oldham Coliseum was able to continue their good work. But suddenly, last November, the Arts Council England said, the £1.84 million you were expecting over the 3 years, well, forget it. You're not getting it. What? So immediately everybody said, what's going to happen to this producing house theatre? Now, it's been difficult because I was asked to look at it to say, what is really going on? Because Equity's campaign was saving the Oldham Coliseum, full stop. Save the Oldham Coliseum. Now, did that mean the jobs? Did it mean the building? Did it mean both? And which, if any, had a priority? Because it did seem at the time that that was a little bit anticipatory. Is that a good word, Hilary? To say just save the Oldham Coliseum Theatre. Now, there are 3 players I've now discovered in this situation. There's the Oldham Coliseum Limited, which is the body that puts on the producing house theatre within a building. And there's the Oldham Council, who actually own the building and are the landlords, and also give some funding to Oldham Coliseum Limited. And then there's the Arts Council, who actually provide a bulk of the funds. So where does that leave us? Well, Equity in their campaign last Tuesday had a public meeting, and I think it's fair to say that their thrust was save the Oldham Coliseum Theatre. Arts Council England, reverse your reckless decision. Now, that kind of hoisted the flag, the flagpole, hoist the petard, is it, Hilary, and said what Equity expected. But when you looked at all the information with those 3 players, it wasn't quite as obvious. But the public meeting did achieve a very good result in that it caused the Arts Council to publish a statement, which we discussed in the last video, and now Oldham Council published a statement along with a plan, which they discussed at their cabinet meeting last night. Now, if you want to read all the facts from Oldham Council, I suggest you have a look at their portfolio. What do they call it? Cabinet meeting, yes, form. Just have a look at the length of this. Now there's some points in that document I'll refer to more specifically later, but given that the Oldham Council own the building that's currently known as the Oldham Coliseum Theatre and are the landlords, it's quite clear from the reports they've had that the building is no longer fit for purpose. Given that it had a grant of £2 million in 2012 to refurbish it for a life expectancy of 10 years, it's now reported that it's riddled with health and safety issues along with asbestos. So it's not possible to refurbish it to extend its life. And indeed, if somebody's having a campaign that says, save the building, how are they going to achieve that? Because presumably you'd have to negotiate with Oldham Council to sell it to you, and then would Oldham Council grant you building permission to refurbish it, to open it as a theatre? Because the chances are it doesn't fall into, even if it could be done, their overall vision for the future centre of Oldham Town. So it's a very difficult situation. So personally, I think focusing on saving the building, for what? Well, it will take a miracle. Miracles do happen. Do they, Equity? So the focus for me is how do you save the jobs of those involved? Because when you look, this situation's gone on for years. And one has to ask, how come we've got to 2023 and there's no theatre? Because everyone's known, including the Oldham Coliseum, including the council, including the Arts Council, that it needs a new venue. They all agreed it. I mean, just look at this. Agreement there, even from the Oldham Coliseum, that a new venue is needed. So how do we find ourselves in a situation now where the council is saying, well, it'll be ready by 2026? I mean, come on, what is going on? Talk about bureaucracy, Hilary. So where does that leave things? Well, some equity members went along to that cabinet meeting last night and asked 9 questions. Now, the video is available online, though the first few minutes, I think, are not available in vision because of a technicality, but I'll put the link below in the notes if you want to see it and hear what questions were asked by those equity representatives from the Manchester branch and other areas who went along to ask questions of Oldham Council. But the specific items I've spotted which need addressing are these. .3 specifically says that Oldham Council have to identify clearly what they intend to do with the money if it complies with the aspirations and the demands of the Arts Council in order to access the £1.84 million. Now it seems to me at this stage, this is where equity should be asking questions. What undertakings is Oldham Council being required to give to the Arts Council? What are they? Personally, I seem to think it was that public meeting last week that suddenly moved this agenda item right up to the top of the cabinet meeting because Oldham Council had to respond given the media interest that had been generated by Equity's campaign. So well done the Equity members for that. But also it means the document itself, when you look at it, doesn't quite pass muster in quite a few areas. For example, 2.1 says that 24.5 million is available for the new theatre. But no, because if you read it properly, that's the sum awarded to Oldham under the new Towns deal. That's the total sum for 4 projects. And if you look at 2.5, it then actually says that of the 21.4 million, 6 million has been allocated for the new theatre. And everybody's saying, well, that's naturally going to be the Oldham Coliseum, isn't it? Is it? Ask the questions. Indeed, ask the questions. But is Equity, as an independent broker, able to ask those questions now of Oldham Council, given that Equity sort of decided to blame the Arts Council of England completely? Because clearly that's not the case. And I'm focusing now on section 5 of this report for Oldham Council and the future of Oldham Coliseum. Now, section 5.1, I'll leave for a little bit, but just have a look at section 5.2 and section 5.3. Did you spot the ending of section 5.3? Oldham Council are continuing discussions with the Oldham Board to try and retain some of its artistic legacy. To try and retain, Hilary, yes. And what about section 5.1? Have you got the paper, Hilary? Thank you, because we need to read this through carefully. Oldham's new theatre was always intended to be the future home of the Oldham Coliseum, with work already underway to develop a new operation and production model for the new theatre. It continues. Oldham Council and the Arts Council remain confident in the ability to form a strong operating and business model for a producing theatre without the Coliseum, should that be required. Now, I don't know about you, but even I as an entertainment entrepreneur was shocked by that statement in section 5.1, and equally I'm somewhat surprised, and Hilary's written this out for me, to see a statement in section 7.6.1 by Chris Lawson, the interim chief executive of Oldham Coliseum Theatre. And Chris is reported as saying, "We continue to hope that there is a place in Oldham for the Coliseum Theatre, and that we can find a way to remain part of Oldham's cultural offer while overcoming our current challenges." Now, somebody needs to actually say, come on, we need more than hope. we need Equity going in there and having a conversation with Oldham Council and saying, excuse me, what is going on? And well done to those Equity members who turned up to that cabinet meeting last night. But for me, I would think out of the box. I would think out of the box and say, we need somebody now who's really independent and can go up to Oldham and can say, come on, give me the facts. Let me have a look at them with my experience and my background and my independence as an independent broker they could be, and also knowledgeable in how to deal with bureaucracy like the Arts Council. Somebody to go up there and have a word with everybody and collect the facts and give a report urgently. My suggestion off the top of my head would be to say, should we invite Lord Michael Cashman to go and have a look-see, because even though some might say, well, it's different political opinions and everything, and I would actually support Lord Michael Cashman going up there, if he had the time, to check things out and give a report back, because I think nobody could actually say he's not an independent broker. So that's my suggestion. So let me know what you think. But now, of course, we come to our jokeroonie, a little bit of light-hearted things to finish off this very difficult situation. Save Oldham Coliseum. But before the jokeroonie, of course, apologies to Lord Michael, because I just did that off the top of my head. I don't even know if Lord Michael Cashman is available, so I apologise for mentioning it, just as Nigel Cecil as an entertainment entrepreneur would do. But hopefully we'll be able to get some answers from an independent broker from Oldham Council, the Arts Council and Oldham Coliseum, especially if I just hark back to that 5.1 before the joke. Because this really is serious, where Oldham Council and the Arts Council remain confident in the ability to form a strong operating and business model for a producing theatre without the Coliseum, should that be required. What experience have Oldham Council got in running or even organising or instigating or bringing into existence a producing theatre? Well, I would suspect the answer is extremely little, if not actually none. So, hopefully, somebody will have a conversation with Oldham Council and with a deep breath save Oldham Coliseum Theatre and its legacy for the future of Oldham cultural arts ecology. But you've got my joke. Oh, you've already given it. I forget these things, Hilary. What was he? Yes, apparently. Somebody emailed into Nigel Cecil and said I just rambled. Really? And Hilary's chosen a suitable joke. Knock, knock. Who's there? Jester. Jester. Is this harking back to the Oldham Coliseum building? Originally started as a circus back in 1880 something? A circus. Yes, a jester. Knock, knock. Who's there? Jester. Jester who? Jester, silly old man. Jester, silly old man. Well, all I can say is, yes, strawberries, as usual. Strawberries and love to all of you. And let's come together to save the Oldham Coliseum. Strawberries and love.
Nigel Cecil, equity as you like it.